Hey everybody, it's Brandon Scheid here, and we're here today to talk about bar replacements. So if you've had an issue with your bar and you received a Liquid Force bar replacement kit, we're going to teach you today how to install that bar replacement kit so you can get back out on the water. All right, so the things you need to do this maintenance is obviously the damaged bar that you're replacing. You need a replacement bar kit that you got from an authorized Liquid Force dealer or from your shop, or you ordered it directly from us at Liquid Force. You need a hammer just in case you have pins. You need something to pound those pins out that is slightly smaller than the pins. In this case, I use a standard surf key, but if you have the screws, you're gonna need that 1.5 mm Allen key. It also helps to have a little bit of dental floss or kite line to feed some of the pesky lines back through the small surfaces. So to start this process, you're gonna need to unwind your lines and separate them outside from inside like you would if you were going kiteboarding on the water. And the first step that I'm gonna go ahead and do here is I'm gonna remove my flagging line by undoing this lark's head. So I'm gonna open my chicken loop to give me unrestricted access to this. I'm gonna pull it down so that I can see the ring and the lark's head. I'm gonna undo the lark's head, and I like to rotate the ring around so that the small end goes in first. It makes it easier to get it over the large part of the ring. I'm just gonna slide it off the ring and the line should pull off. You just wanna set that to the side in a pile of all the gear that you're gonna remove from the bar. Okay, next big thing is to pull the flagging line through the bar. So by grabbing the chicken loop and pulling from up here on top of the cleat, you can pull the flagging line completely out of the bar. I like to just kind of bunch that up and set that in the center with my center line so that everything's separated. Okay. The next step is going to be to locate and untie the D-Power trim line. So this is my D-Power trim line here. I'm going to go ahead and D-Power it so I have some slack. I like to take a surf key or my Allen key and kind of dig this knot out from underneath this little piece of webbing here. So you can see, once I can get enough of my finger, I'm gonna pull that knot out of my Velcro webbing, and I'm gonna untie my knot. Open that up, and you're gonna go ahead and remove this Velcro piece off of the knot and set that aside. You're also gonna pull the line completely off the pulley so that the pulley and your flagging line are off of your bar. And you can just leave those right there in the middle of that bar so that you know everything is right where you left it. Now we're gonna move on to our outside lines. You're gonna go ahead and pull up your outside floats in your bar to expose the leader attachment point. You're gonna un-lark's head your leader line by undoing the large lark's head knot. Take note of what knot you take it off of so you attach it back to the same knot. Once it's removed, you're gonna set it aside. You're gonna do the same for the other side. Pull it up. Remove the leader line and set it aside. Okay, so now your bar should be completely disconnected from all of the line sets. Now to pull these lines through, you're gonna need to remove this little bungee right here. I'm gonna pull up on this loop here, bringing the tab all the way to the bungee. I'm gonna slide the lark's head or the leader through the bungee, and I'm gonna pull the bungee out of the line and set that aside. So you're gonna do that on both sides. 2 bungees in my gear pile. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pull the cartridge and line through the bar and set those aside. So I'm gonna pull the cartridge out, and I'm gonna pull that leader line through the bar, and I'm gonna set that aside as well. Same over here. Remove the cartridge, pull the leader line completely through the bar, and set those aside. And you can see what we have here now is even further deconstructed bar. Now we need to remove the chicken loop. So if you're looking at your pins and you can see there's a spot for an Allen key to fit, in this case there's an Allen key slot there and an Allen key slot there, you can go ahead and take your 1.5 mm Allen key and unscrew these pins. Again, this is with a 1.5 mm Allen key, and they're threaded completely through. So get ready to do a lot of spins. That's one. And that's two. You can go ahead and pull your chicken loop completely off your bar and set that aside. So if your bar has push pins, so by looking at the two sides, you can see there's no spot for an Allen key to unscrew them. You're gonna need to pound those out. So grab something, a surf key in this case, that's smaller than the diameter of the pins so that you can pound it into the bar and get the pin out. In a pinch, you can go ahead and set this bar on your bar end right there. That's gonna give you room to hit the pin out and it not hit the floor. There we go. Keep working at it. Patience will prevail. So you see I've pounded the whole pin completely out of the rotor head, and now I can simply pull my surf key out and work on my other pin. So again, line the surf key up, put it somewhere that you have some relief. Oh, I had it started. Here we go. Once you get it started, again, the pin drops out the bottom. I can pull the surf key back out, and now I can go ahead and separate the two pieces. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove this complete system out of here, this junky bar, that out of there. And I'm going to take my new bar that I received from Liquid Force. So now I'm going to essentially do those steps in reverse. And I'm going to start down here with the chicken loop and the rotor head. I'm going to put the chicken loop on my new rotor head. Everything should come together. It is a little bit of a tight fit, so you're going to need to hold the chicken loop together with the rotor head when you screw the first pin back in. So again, go ahead and just put your 1.5 Allen key and spin those screws all the way back through. Now personally, before I do one all the way through, I like to put the other one in, and I also like to do it from the opposite side. So I have a pin starting on each side of the chicken loop. Like I said, maybe a little bit more challenging to get those screws started. There is a little bit of tension in the system. Once you have it start threaded, you can go ahead and grab your Allen key. Oh, that's probably why, because I'm trying to put the wrong side in there. There we go. Go ahead and screw that about halfway in. Now the reason why I like to do this, I can show you in 1 second, is now you can see I'm pinching the rotor head from this side and from this side. So both pieces are being pulled together, which helps make this whole process a lot easier. I'm going to go ahead and screw these again all the way in to the rotor head with my 1.5 mm Allen key. Okay, that's one. you just go ahead and grab your pin, line it up with your area. In this case, you can do it on a flat surface. And pound that pin in most of the way. Go ahead and flip it over and go ahead and set the other pin up. It's going to be hard to do with this rubber mallet, so I'll use the surf key to kind of give it the last few. Okay, once your Allen keys are secure and your rotor head is secured to your bar, we're going to go ahead and do our outside cartridges. So this is where your piece of string comes in handy. Ah, yes, my string. So this is where your string comes in handy, because it's a little bit tricky to get the leaders through these slots here on the end of the bar. So you're going to take your line or dental floss, you're going to slide it down through the line or through the bar. You're going to grab your cartridge, put the line through the end of the leader line, and feed that back up through the slot. I'm going to go ahead and come up, grab my bar, and pull this line up through the bar, pull the line out, and I'm going to go ahead and reseat my cartridge into my bar. I flip the bar over so I can work on the other side. Once again, I'm going to take my line, I'm going to feed one end through the bar. I'm going to go ahead and put that through the loop on the end of my leader line. I'm going to go ahead and put that back through the bar. I'm going to give this thing a nice firm pull to get the line seated up through the bar, and then I'm going to continue to pull it up, install my cartridge, and slide my line out. So now, because I want to make sure orange or red is on the left, I'm going to flip my bar back over to its original orientation. If you're not quite sure, the Liquid Force logo is always going to face you. So my next step is to redo my outside lines. Once my cartridge is reseated, I'm going to push my line down so that it splays open. I'm going to find a little notch through the center of the rope with my surf key. I'm going to take my bungee and I'm going to push the bungee through my leader rope, pulling it all the way against the rope. Now I take the leader, I put it through the elastic, and I pull the elastic back down so that it's connected to the line. I then take my outside line, lark's head on the end of my leader, and reattach it to the knot that I had it on before. And I'm going to go ahead and slide my leader line back down over my knot. Same thing over here. End of it, I'm going to attach it to the knot it was attached to. Again, in this case, the third knot or first knot, whichever one you think it is. And I'm going to, again, slide my leader back down over my knots so my rear lines are now installed on my bar. The next thing I'm going to want to do is take my D-power or trim line, and I'm going to want to feed it through the pulley, making sure it goes underneath the flagging line. So I'm just going to slide it through the pulley assembly, and I may need to use my 1.5 mm Allen key to kind of pull that through, and I'm just going to need to pull that down through the pulley. Next would be to feed it through the stainless steel cleat. So again, just pushing the line through the cleat, pulling it back to where it was. Now that helps to have a lot of line, so pull that all the way through so that you have a lot of tail here to work with. I'm going to take my Velcro piece, I'm going to slide the line into the hole on the bottom of the Velcro piece. pushing the line up into the piece. And again, this Allen key comes in great handy. A pair of pliers would do you too, to grab that line and pull it up from underneath the webbing. So now that that's on, I'm gonna finish with a simple overhand knot and tighten it down near the end of the tail. And now I'm gonna take that knot and I'm gonna slowly work it back under this webbing. Again, this little surf key or Allen key will help compress or lift the webbing up so that you can push the knot down underneath the webbing. And then you just need to pull the knot to seat it back down underneath. If you really want to make it look super, super nice, you could go in here, lift the webbing even more, jamming the tail down underneath. There you go. One of my final steps is to feed my flagging line back through. And then this is really important that we follow the flagging line and don't twist it around my D-power line. So again, pull it out so you see that it's free of any knots or twists, and line it up so that it goes straight down those two D-power lines and straight into the tube. Oh yeah, one goes in a lot easier. So just feed that line all the way through the chicken loop till you see it pop out the other end, and now you have a line completely through the loop. I'm gonna take this, I'm just simply gonna tie a knot. The knot should pass through everything pretty easily, and it will get this line down where I need it to. So once again, I have the line going through the rope. And I'm gonna make sure, again, that my flagging line is going straight down through and into the tube. I can see that it's a straight line. I'm gonna put my foot on the bar and pull that flagging line all the way through down here to the chicken loop. And you can see that was super easy with the line. I'm gonna untie my simple overhand knot, which if I had fingernails would probably be a lot easier. So maybe get your wife involved for you guy kiteboarders. Now that I have this through, my last step is to slide my ball over my flagging line and re-lark's head my ring, safety ring, onto my flagging line. And my bar is good and ready to go. That's it.